What is a profession that you have limitless respect for? Electrical line workers. Those men and women go out in the worst temperatures and conditions at any time of night just to get your house its power back. End-of-life care and special needs workers. The people who quietly do so much for those in need, where unfortunately some have no family or loved ones to be there for them. Most do it for low pay and receive a heavy mental tax in return. Dispatchers and emergency call centers getting the relevant information out of desperate, shocked people who never gone through it before and panic all the time, and not asking a certain question or deciding the wrong, having disastrous consequences doing this for a living. I'd fail after 5 minutes. As a nurse, the hospital housekeepers. It's a thankless, underpaid, miserable job, but so critical to patients' health and well-being. The veterinarians who do in-home euthanasia. I can't imagine putting beloved pets down all day, every day. But giving my doggo the gift of dying in my bed instead of a cold, sterile vet's office was an unspeakable gift. Social workers. Dear God, the things they see are soul-crushing sometimes, and for often poor pay and little recognition for their work. Love them. Caretakers in nursing homes. I worked in one and could only stomach a handful of months of it. It is the most soul-crushing thing you can do. Working with the dementia patients counts as triple points. Anyone who works in the mental health field, social workers, therapists, etc. Garbage men, women. Suicide hotline operators. 911 dispatchers. Doctors of any kind. Heavy equipment and crane operators. I've seen people do such delicate and precise things with machinery that I couldn't do in a lab with tweezers and an eyedropper. Sewer workers and sewage treatment plant workers. They work within literal shit all day long. I don't even want to think of where we'd be without them. Medical personnel, not just doctors and nurses but air ambulances, lifeboats, search and rescue, etc. etc. Massive thanks to them for what they do every day. Surgeon. My brother-in-law is one, in the knowledge, confidence, and endurance they require to do their job is unparalleled. He often shares pictures of his work with me, most of it in progress, and I am truly humbled by what they do. Teachers and daycare teachers. Especially after having a child and understanding how difficult they are. There's a common thread here: a lot of the professions aren't particularly well paid. Teachers, nurses, paramedics, etc., a backwards society. Merchant seamen. People who think products simply appear in stores don't realize that 90% of the world's traded goods are moved by sea. It's a difficult, dangerous and undervalued job, and the world economy would collapse should the ceilings be threatened by conflict or natural disaster. Public defenders. Going through all that expensive law school and passing the bar to choose to get paid like shit. Firefighting. My grandfather was a fireman and was about the coolest cat ever. Over the years I have known several firefighters to be genuinely good people. Veterinarians. They go to school as long as doctors, have to learn how multiple different animals work, and still get paid way less than doctors. Most do it just because they love animals. I feel like anesthesiologists are the unsung heroes of the medical profession. Surgeons get all the credit when an operation goes well, but anesthesiologists are the ones who make the difference between you waking up during the operation, waking up after the operation, or never waking up at all. Nurses. I've met all kinds: angry nurses, educated nurses, shitty, entitled nurses. I've never met one who didn't want to save me, so thank you. Beating heart. Engineering and anyone who served in the military. I have a coworker who did both, and I respected and took his word above the GM's. Ear nurses. I stock their clean holding rooms, feeder carts, so I don't usually have to deal with the patients, but I feel so bad for the nurses that do. You won't find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy than the ER at 2 a.m. Nursing. Being in and out of the healthcare system, I see how hard nurses work. It is a hard job with stressful situations, and they usually have poison skills to carry them through. Truck drivers. I do not have the patience for that job. I'll always let a truck out of a junction on my commute as a result. Anyone in any aspect of customer service who have to put up with rude, discompassionate and selfish customers on a daily basis. Just any profession that has to interact with the average person as part of their day. Honestly, people are fucking idiots. I had to work 2 weeks in my office apprenticeship in a nursery home in the care part too. Caring for the elderly has all my respect. Nurses. I have cancer and have been in the hospital a lot from complications and whatnot. They're always so kind and attentive while also dealing with so much crap on a day-to-day basis for 12-hour shifts. Reddit mods. How they keep the sperm and Cheeto dust from breaking their computers is truly impressive. I want to say sex workers. Over the years I've met many. A lot of them keep me sane and humble, especially towards women. But they serve as doctors, lawyers, cops, mentally ill, handicap, etc., teachers, paramedics, nurses. Well, any health jobs in social work, firefighters, farmers. There are a lot more jobs that are an obligatory part of our society to make our lives better and provide the most important basics. Surgeons. There's a reason they're paid $100 per hour. Ever seen the amount of work and effort that goes into a leg amputation and fitting a metal pole inside the bone after extremely precise measuring and the marrow has been cleared out? These surgeons literally have to hammer it in there with a rubber sledgehammer. It's amazing to watch and seriously puts their job into perspective. Adoption foster care workers. My wife works with foster kids and the stories she comes home with are truly frightening and most are just plain sad. So many kids turn 17, age out of the system, and with no one to fall back on, end up homeless or in prison pretty quickly. Dentists. I literally could never become one. Although I want to become the doctor, which is kind of similar I think, but still. Fixing others' dental problems is just not my cup of tea. Surgeons. It takes a special person to dedicate that much time and study to surgery, especially ones like brain surgery or heart surgery. Hospice nurses. Our elder care systems in the US are a disaster in general, but the people who are willing to look after folks at the end, when it's anything but pretty, are next level stars. Librarians. I'm sure they make shit money and they put up with idiots, guys who jerk off on their computers and people who are just dickwads in general. Teaching and nurses and doctors, child providers, working with the disabled, the elderly, the homeless, surgeons, janitors. Public defenders protect some of our most important rights before overworked courts and get a lot of disdain from members of the public who fundamentally misunderstand the criminal law process. Hospice nurses. It takes a really strong and loving individual to make people feel comfortable and safe in their final moments and feel like they are leaving this world with dignity. NICU nurses. Them people give more than they get day in and day out, pouring love into so many little babies. Nurses. I am an auditor and I've seen what they get paid. For the hours they work and what they witness, they should be making 7 figures a year. A lot of amazing responses so far, but I will say HVAC rough techs. I work in the office for a HVAC ref company and I'm pretty amazed by what the guys do every day. We need more young people to join the trades, the demand is not going anywhere. Deliverers food, medicine, etc. These guys bring the necessary groceries to your house for pennies, and sometimes listen to complaints about being a little late, but still keep smiling in your face. Police officers. I hate a lot of them, especially the gung-ho tactical types. But the ones who are actively out there trying to make a difference in the community get my respect. Prostitutes. They're performing a difficult and dangerous job with little support from the community, little safety, and often doing it to support their children. Teachers. Yo! Kids are little shits, and I would never have the patience to tell an eye-rolling teenager that he should care about physics. You all don't get paid shit either. Nurses. My mom was one for 30 years, it takes a toll on a person in every way over time. I know there are some bad ones out there, but my hat goes off to the good ones. Policemen. My dad's a cop, so. Fortunately, until now there have never been cases in Portugal, not that I know of police officers who did the same as they have done in the United States with African Americans, so I still respect the ones that are really good at their job and are not bad persons. People that work child protection. My father did it for 6 months and had to change departments. It was too much for him and he saw some horrible things and had to talk to kids who had been through hell and back. In the same basket, anyone who works in pediatrics. Firefighters. Takes a special person to run into a situation that hundreds of thousands of years of evolution have trained us to run away from. And all in the interest of saving fellow humans. Epitome of selflessness. There's loads of great examples I can mention that I have nothing but respect for, but the absolute pinnacle for me has to be combat medic. Lawyers, politicians and proctologists. They all know exactly what they are doing and apologize for nothing. I would say all professions deserve the modicum of respect for their effort, however, my preface would be those who are actually living up their profession. My mom's a teacher, and I have great respect for that. But there are teachers who are just bad and don't deserve the respect great teachers yield them by covering over their mistakes. Miners. I live in a town where mining is a common profession. Those men and women go underground almost every day for at least 10 hours. A lot of people turn to it because it pays really well, but it does a lot on your body. They work in dark and pretty dangerous conditions for the natural resources that run our world. Anyone who works as carer for Alzheimer's patients. I've done that for a short while. and seeing people do that full-time really makes me think they are the unsung heroes of our society. Garbage men, janitors, concrete guys, and any other dirty, grueling and low-pay jobs that are the cornerstone of the world around us. Kindergarten teachers. I respected them when I had a 4-year-old to care for. All limits disappeared when I got 4-year-old ones. It's just over the pain limit. I do not recommend. And she was running this class with 30 of those kids. And looked still genuinely friendly at the end of the day. Pilots, I would say surgeons, but they have hundreds of lives in their hands versus one. Both have to be very stressful and soul-consuming at times. Civil sanitation, water resource engineers, clean water and proper sewage disposal have saved more human lives than any other advancement in technology. Janitors, garbage collectors, frontline people when defending a country agent in an unjustified invasion. Retail workers, most of the time they deal with a lot of shit from customers, bosses, and coworkers on a daily basis. During COVID I had to change careers due to my employer being closed. I did homicide-suicide cleanups. That really is another world. I had one guy who could eat his sandwich while cleaning up bioscenes. My drinking skyrocketed. The money was good, but after a year I quickly changed. It was just too much. I have a whole new respect for people in this line of work.